Hello, I'm Rebecca and welcome to my YouTube channel Crafting with Rebecca. As you may remember, nearly 4 weeks ago I fractured my foot and I've been off work since. Sadly, that time is coming to an end and I'll be back to work next week. But I've been doing lots of crafting and lots of stitching since my last Flosstube. So last week I ran the children's class at my embroidery guild and we had a great time. I taught the kids how to use plastic canvas as a great starter to get into cross stitch maybe, you never know. Earlier this week my mum came over and I put her to work helping me to organise my craft room. I have a big cupboard that has lots of shelves in it and I just had too much stuff, and apparently I like to keep boxes, and sometimes I keep boxes even if they haven't got anything in them. So Mum helped me condense some things and get rid of some things, and now I actually even have some space on my shelves, which is nice. But also, note to self, I don't need to buy anything at any craft shows unless it's to finish a project. We'll put that caveat on there. I also had a day yesterday with my sewing machine. I don't have a spot where I can keep it out all the time, although I would like to. So it's always an effort to have to get it out to use. So I had a number of projects I needed to use it for, and I had bought some fabric at the craft show with the purpose of finishing some projects off. So yesterday I completed 6 projects. Pretty impressive, I know. I was rather impressed with myself too. So on that note, let's get into my finishes. So for my first project, it's a really exciting one. I actually finished a tablecloth that I had actually bought some fabric at a craft show that was just beautiful, but I couldn't cut it up. And it was long enough that I could make it as a tablecloth. So I'll just hold up the fabric for you. Isn't it lovely? So all I did was stick a hem on it, and now I have a tablecloth that's really pretty for Christmas. So I'm happy with that. It still took me ages to do though. It took about an hour to hem it. It was rather long on the sides though. So my next up project is a cushion. I had bought a panel in Ketchikan at one of the fabric shops there that was an Alaskan one, and it had the words home written across, with the O being this map of Alaska. Now my home is not Alaska, although I would like to visit it again. So I didn't really want to use the whole piece. So I've actually turned it into a cushion. And I used the fabric from the extra words or letters to be the backing of the fabric. So here it is. It is lovely. I really do like it. I just didn't need it as a whole panel. And I just used a couple of, an old cushion that was starting to disintegrate. So I do actually have lots of fluff from the old cushion on the floor. I haven't got the vacuum out yet. My next project is a small wall hanging quilt. My mum and I, she seems to feature a lot in some of my purchases, had attended a craft show, which we do frequently, and we had gone halves in this stitchery panel. We ended up with 1 large block each and 7 small blocks. Now what do you do with 7? You can't make a table runner because you've got 7. Like, you can't make it even. So I ended up, what I decided on was this small quilt. So I used the 1 big panel. I actually made a quilt block for the other, and then I did 3 and 3 and 1 in the middle. So I'll hold it up as best I can, but I will insert a photo as well. So you can see, here's one set of 3 with a patchwork panel. Then we have the stitchery piece, then the one in the middle, and then we have my patchwork, which we're not zooming in on because my points aren't very good, and then we have some more stitchery ones. So I stitched this. I'll bring it in a little bit closer and fold her up a little bit. So I don't know if you can tell, it's in a pink fabric and it's stitched using a sashiko thread that's a variegated one. I can't tell you which one it is because I've chucked the thing. So I hope you enjoyed that wall hanging. I just realised I had a couple of ends still to sew in, but I won't tell anyone if you don't. So my next project is one I had to buy some invisible thread for. Again, I bought this in Alaska. I bought this gorgeous panel at the Changing Tides quilt shop that's in Juneau. This shop was just beautiful. It had, I just walked in and I went, wow, because it was just so much stuff. It was one of the first craft shops that I'd seen in Alaska that had a lot of Alaskan projects in it. So I was really excited. I also had bought a couple of cross-stitch patterns there. But I saw this panel and I just had to have it. It's just so beautiful. So I've not actually really done a lot with it. You didn't need to add the borders. It comes all printed on. So all I really needed to do was quilt it, and I wanted to do it with an invisible thread because you'll see why you wouldn't want the threads to stand out, because the thing's not the point of it is not your stitching or your work, it's the actual picture, because it's just adorable. So let me see if I can show you. Can you see? It's got the mummy bear with her two babies. And I've just quilted around the things, but I need to show you the back. I bought the matching backing fabric as well, and it's just so cute. It's too cute. So like, how sweet is that? I will insert a picture of the front so that you can see it properly, but I'm so glad I finished it, and I think I'm going to swap out a quilt that I've had on one of the back of my lounge chairs. I have another chair on the other side here, and I think I might have to put this panel there. I do, of course, first have to sew in the ends of all the invisible thread, but we aren't doing that today. So I actually have a cross stitch finish for you today. Actually, I have two cross stitch finishes, and I've put it in a really safe place and I can't see it. So for my next project, you've already seen it as a finished cross stitch, but now I have fully finished it. So without further ado, here is my cushion featuring the Secret Garden salve by the Historical Sampler Company. I got this fabric at the craft show and I just thought, isn't it perfect? I was a little worried because I didn't have it with me when I purchased it, but it's just so nice. I again used an old cushion that was disintegrating, but I kind of have done it in a slightly odd shape because I wanted to try and use up all the fabric that went with it. So not quite a square, but you know. I've done some press studs on the back, but I think I might need to re-sew them, but it hasn't fallen apart yet, so we might just keep it anyway. But how nice is that? I'm really happy with that finish. My next project is one I didn't realise I was so close to finishing. So let me show you. It's my Christmas stocking. Isn't that fantastic? I'm so excited that I've got it done. I started it on the 15th of December in 2024 and I finished it on the 3rd of July. So I've done about 15,205 stitches. I think I counted in the stitches for my husband's name on there. And it doesn't include all the back stitch. There's quite a fair bit of back stitch on it. Doesn't the wreath just look amazing? It looks like it's sparkling. And there's the toe. I'm so happy with the finish on this. The kit did provide some felt for the backing, but I got this gorgeous fabric from Spotlight. And they had a green as well, which would be nice for the stocking that I'm doing for myself. However, it was a really yucky green, so it looks like mine's also going to have a matching red backing on it as well. But isn't that lovely? So for my last finish, I'm just on a roll this week, aren't I? I've got my little drum that came in the project bag of the month from Rose Crafty Corner. So she puts in, each month she puts in with the bag, project bag, she puts in a little project for you to do. And I just thought this one was really cute, and it also gave me an opportunity to practice stitching on a dark fabric, which I've not done before. So here it is. Isn't it cute? I didn't quite get the seams to match, but you know, who's looking at the back? Not me, I'm not showing anyone. But look at the little bears, aren't they just sweet? So I started this on the 21st of June and I finished it on the 30th of June, and it was a total of 2,609 stitches. So I decided to add some of this braid around the top just to hide the edges of the stitching there, and also added some at the bottom. And these lovely pins come from Kylie from Rose Crafty Corner as well. They come in the project bag too. So isn't that just lovely? So for my whips today, I have a couple of old ones, and I've got a couple of new starts as well. So first up is my Peppermint Purple 52-week sale. So this time I'll try and point at the actual weeks that I've done, but we have done another 2, and let me show you. We've now completed this piece at the bottom, the block of 4, and we did the last 2. But don't they look amazing? And one of the things I find interesting with this sale is you realise how quickly the weeks of the year are going past. The next one is week 29. We're more than halfway through. Oh my goodness, where is it going? So next up, we have my other Christmas stocking, and I just love this one on the opalescent fabric. It's just so pretty. So I've actually done a fair bit on this one. So here we are. So last time I had just done 2 of these ones. So I've done all of those, plus this bank of stitching here, plus this bit as well. So this is a bunch of lots of little trees here, and they're actually taking longer to do than you think. It does take a while to stitch the ones across, but not too bad. But these ones, and I guess because you have to stop and start the threads because you don't want your threads behind, given that it is white material that you're using, so it is taking a little while. But it's just, I just love it. I just love the glitter. So for my next start, which is actually a new start, I have got the Moments in Chalk by Hands On Design. So this is a one where I'll pop a picture here so you can see the finished project. So I'm starting with the centerpiece first. I'm then going to tackle the white outline borders for each month, and then I'm going to attempt the very scary pattern that is the border. It's just so tiny. I've tried to get it in markup and it's just so little that it's not working. So what I think I will have to do is just try and use it through another program and just enlarge it and not mark it off, but we'll see how that goes. So this piece of fabric is huge and slightly stiff, so it's a little awkward to use. So I've had a small start so far. So I started on the 6th of July. I'm using 16 count navy Aida, and I'm actually using the called for Gentle Arts threads, which I've never used before, and they're slightly variegated, and I'm not sure if I like that, but we'll go with it anyway. So this is what we've done so far. So you can actually see that there's a word in it, or a couple of words actually. So, and I think it's looking nice so far. So we have got of the year so far. And so far I have done 732 stitches, so which I'm very happy with. My other new start is in relation to a stitch along that I'm participating in. Kat from Catkin and Lily in her Patreon is running a stitch along for I think it's called Stitching Rules by Primrose Cottage, but she expanded it so to include any other sort of stitching sayings type stitches as well. So although I like Stitching Rules from Primrose Cottage, I love Call Me Crafty by Hands On Design, and I particularly like the second one in the series as well. But we'll start with this one first. So I've made a start on Call Me Crafty. So isn't that just lovely? And you can see the words, which is always satisfying to do. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 16 count Rustico Ada, and I'm actually doing it, I have a piece that's quite long, so when I first started stitching it I had sort of put it the other way, and I realised that I was going to have a lot of wastage of fabric around the side, so I decided to change it. So I had only stitched the top line, which is as wide as it gets. So I unpicked it and I turned it around, and I'm hoping there are actually 3 in this series, so I'm hoping to get all 3 on this piece of fabric. I do intend to frame it myself, so I don't need the hugest of borders for my framer, so we'll see what happens at the end. But I have to say I'm really enjoying it so far. The colours do seem a little bit lighter than I had thought, but they're still rather pretty, so that's okay. My last project is actually one that's not a cross stitch, but as I've been going through my craft room, I found a Christmas project that I thought I might try, and it is July, so we could call it my Christmas in July project if you like. So it's actually, I'll show you the pattern first. It's called Let It Snow by the Quilted Rose, and it's a set of 12 ornaments that look really pretty, but I'm not a blue Christmas person. Like, they're pretty, but I like red and green. That's my main theme of all my things. So you were able to buy the kit that had red and white fabric on the back and also red thread. So this is what I've done so far. So I've done 2 of the ornaments so far, and I've made a little start with a wild thread. Actually, I have not made any start on that one. I've just got the needle and thread in there. So, but they're looking quite nice so far. And I plan on stitching that possibly just on the weekends, or when you sometimes feel like you've had a busy day and you just need an easy stitch. Sometimes these things happen, don't they? But I'm enjoying stitching that, and it's nice to have something you don't have to think about sometimes. So one of the things I've discovered this year in the course of using markup is that I like my cross-stitch statistics. So I've been keeping a track. I use Markup RXP to mark off my stitches, and it doesn't include any back stitch on there, which is fine. And then I actually record it in Notion, and I have a template that I've purchased that I use. So in June, I stitched a grand total of 12,502 stitches, and for the year up to the 30th of June, I had stitched 57,168. Who knew I stitched that much? I didn't know that. So it's rather exciting to see, and I have to say each month the number of stitches has increased. In July so far, I've stitched 3,664, which isn't apparently keeping in track with my June stats if I go for half the month, but I did do a lot of back stitch on the stocking, which of course I didn't count in there. So for my purchases, I haven't really purchased a lot in the last couple of weeks because I haven't been anywhere. But before I actually went to the craft show, and I forgot to show this on my last Flosstube, I went to Spotlight and they had their end of financial year sales on, and I was able to pick up a kit that I had been admiring for some time. You know when you see a kit and it just seems to pop up? everywhere you look. Like, I don't know, I've seen it on Flosstube, I've seen it in the shops, I think I saw it at a craft show recently. It just popped up everywhere, so I felt I needed to have it, and it was like such a good price, so it just happened to find its way into my bag, into my shopping bag. I didn't pinch it, I did pay for it. So this is the one. It's a Dimensions kit, and I've forgotten what it's called. Feasting Frenzy. So I just love all the birds and the bird house, and I do look forward to stitching it. However, the one thing with Dimensions kits, comes with the Aida and the threads, which is lovely. It's like a piece of cardboard. It's just so stiff, and I had that fun with the stocking as well. So what I was thinking is I might try to tea dye it. So if you have any tips for tea dyeing, please leave it in the comments below. I'm not starting it yet. I have a couple of other projects to do before this one, but I would like to perhaps give that a try. I mean, there's no point buying more fabric because A, we're trying not to do that, but also, like, I have the fabric. Why don't I just give it a go? What's the worst that can happen? I have to wash it a few times to get the tea out. Let's hope so anyway. And my other purchase, which I sort of purchased, but it came in the post, is my June Cotton and Twine subscription box. So it comes with some goodies in there. There's a little ornament, which I've hung up somewhere, a tea bag, and a chocolate, which I've already eaten, which was rather yummy. And it also comes with all the supplies that you need to complete your project. So for this month, it is a design by Faye from Little Dove Designs, and I have actually admired some of her designs on Etsy, so this is a rather cute one. It comes with the 16 count Aida and all the threads, and also a hoop, which is really nice because then you can finish it in the hoop. So my plans for the next few weeks until my next Flosstube is to stitch. We'll stitch and we'll stitch as much as we can, although I do have to go back to work, and I do have some afternoon shifts that go into the evening, so there will be no stitching on those days, although I actually do try to stitch in the morning before work, although that feels a bit funny, but we'll be doing that. I do sort of plan to maybe alternate my projects, so work on the stocking one day, do the chalk one the next day, but we'll see how we feel. Sometimes if you get on a roll and you just want to finish it, a section, so we'll see how that pans out. So whilst I've been off and stitching, I've been watching lots of Flosstube, and I wanted to share a couple of those with you. I really have been enjoying watching Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches, and at the moment she's doing 12 days of Christmas stitching. She has one particular project that she works on every day, and she's almost finished it because she's almost at the end of her 12 days, and she set a goal so that it would get completed in that time. She also spins a wheel and does of her Christmas projects and does another one with that. And then she has started a BAP, which is a big, amazing project, I guess you would call it. So it's an Amy Stewart project called The Toy Shop, which I think she said she got from Heaven and Earth Designs. And it is ginormous. And she already has so many whips to do. Like, she's almost sitting at 45 whips, I think, and yet she started this ginormous one. She had said her husband had initially wanted it for his 40th birthday, but they've compromised and he's going to get it for his 60th. So she's got 23 years to stitch this project. I'm not sure I have the stamina for one that large. Even though I've done some big ones, this one, the fabric is huge, so good luck to Adelaide, but I'm enjoying watching what she's stitched so far. My next one that I've been watching is Holly from the Timeless Stitchery. She's from the UK, and she's a new Flosstuber like me as well. She has a rather gorgeous dog who often appears in her videos, and a very lovely fluffy cat too. So how can we not like her, because she's got two lovely pets. I love all her tips and tricks, and she's got a recent one where she talks about her floss storage. She also has gone through some of the projects in some of the cross-stitch magazines that she likes and stitches. We don't get a lot of them here, and they're rather expensive, so it was kind of nice to see some of the projects that she shared from the magazines there. And my last YouTuber that I'd like to share with you is Pam from Ditsy Daisy Crafts. So Pam is from Scotland, so she has a rather nice accent, and she's also a new Flosstuber as well. At the moment, she's been stitching a series of raccoons, which are all very cute. One of the things I do love about Pam's videos is that she shares a Scottish word of the day. So last week I learnt about blethering, and I've probably blethered a lot today, but you'll have to go and watch Pam's video to find more about blethering. So just for Pam, I thought I'd come up with an Australian word that to share with you. And I'm not quite sure if it's a word you use in other countries, but duvalaki. You know, when you're looking for something and you just want to know where that duvalaki is and you can't find it anywhere? Well, that's what a duvalaki is. It's just the name of the thing that you can't remember what its name is. So I'm sure there are other Australian words too that we do, but crikey, I don't remember any of them. So I'd like to say thank you for watching my Flosstube today, and I hope I've inspired or enabled you to do some more stitching. Thank you again, and happy stitching.